The original Maji de Watashi Koi Shinasai, or Majikoi Love Me Seriously as officially localized by JAST, is one of, if not the most popular comedy slice-of-life heavy visual novels of all time. It's to the point that many YouTubers, myself included, have reviewed the original Majikoi visual novel at some point. However, there's an expansive sequel that many people, myself included, love at least almost as much as the original Majikoi, and many others hope that the official localizer translator JAST eventually gets to pick up and officially translate it. So whether you want to know if Majikoi S is worth the hype, if you only want to stick to official translations on Steam, or if you're just curious about this particular entry, in this video I'm going to cover what's so great about Majikoi S. When I said Majikoi S is expansive, I was not exaggerating. Right from the beginning, the visuals and audios get a clear touch-up, sprites are much more animated, there's updated remixes of previous music, and plenty of fun new music tracks. There's even several hand-picked moments through a few routes where we straight up have animated cutscenes for specific moments. This is something I wish more action-heavy visual novel titles did. This expansion also extends to the amount of routes in Majikoi S. If you thought there were a lot of routes in the original Majikoi, then Majikoi S beats it by quite a lot, having essentially over twice as many available routes as the original Majikoi. As this is a sequel, kind of masquerading as a fan disc, you have your after stories for the original main 5 heroine routes from the original Majikoi. All these lean towards being wholesome and hilarious as you'd expect from the Majikoi series, with a personal favorite being Miyako, who somehow upped her moe level and maturity while still being the same lovable perverted childhood friend. There's even an afterstory for the original Majikoi's true route Agave with 2 separate branches. One where you get to elect yourself into Stockholm Syndrome and get with the 3 powerful sisters who captured the main character Yamato in the original Agave, or you can go with a slightly more sane option and have a threesome with your 2 super horny childhood friends who started to openly lust Yamato after attempting to save him from these previously mentioned kidnapper sisters. Which reminds me, the H scenes in general are also expanded, feeling at least 1.5 times length the average H scene from the original Majikoi. Fun times either way though. A key feature many look forward to in Majikoi S is it giving routes to characters who were either popular or felt like they almost deserved a route based on the writing of the original Majikoi. In Majikoi S, there's now routes for Kokoro, the rich bitch from Class 2S, Iyo, Yukie's fellow underclassman and best friend outside of the Kazuma family, Margit, an extremely popular fan favorite being Chris's older sister figure and super powerful with tonfas, and there's even a route for Yumiko, a glasses-wearing third year I'm sure many people were not expecting to get a route. There's even a joke route for the premium girl by accessing the tutorial of all things. These routes are admittedly a little hit or miss, with many claiming they're a little too short compared to previous routes in the original Majikoi, with Margit's in particular being accused of being a sex-heavy nukige. I personally take issue with Yumiko's route being a branch from the joke hermit crab ending for the original Majikoi, Yumiko's route being one of the few routes in all of the Majikoi series I outright dislike. Outside of those complaints though, I still think these routes for previous characters are pretty fun with what they have. A lot of the hilarious comedy and goofy interactions you come to expect from the series, and so it became enjoyable enough. However, the real fun of Majikoi S, and like why some people consider S and Beyond a huge improvement over the original Majikoi, is the extreme upgrade of amounts of waifu options. If you thought Majikoi had a lot of heroine waifu options, after Majikoi S, that number straight up doubles by the end of Majikoi S's common route. Which reminds me of the reason why Majikoi S is officially considered a sequel and not a fan disc. It's because of the introduction of its new characters. If you branch off the afterstories of the original main 5 heroine routes, the common route is basically a way to introduce the many new characters. These include a few heroines part of the Bushido project, who are basically just hot female clones of previous Japanese male warlords, where the Kuki family is not just limited to Hideo and Ageha anymore. We sure up get to meet the whole family and even have a few new battle maids many consider even better than Azumi. There is a whole West Side school full of quirky characters that has a duel with Kawakami Academy. There's even a soft introduction to waifu warriors who hail from the in-universe version of China. This covers maybe half the amount of new characters and changes from Majikoi S, but sadly almost all the heroines I listed do not get routes until the even more expansive Majikoi A fan discs. Thankfully, there are 2 new brand new characters who get full-length routes that are quite fun and unique. The first being Tsubame, a new upperclassman in Momoyo's class, known for her goofy teasiness, but also an obsession with selling her family natto to everybody as much as possible. She's sometimes referred to as the female version of Yamato in a way where she's willing to be underhanded instead of winning through raw strength. Tsubame straight up has a unique route branch where you get to choose who gets to be the dom and sub of the relationship. If you've ever wanted to see something like this, then this is your route, because these are decently long branches with their own unique H scenes and romantic plot lines and such. The other new heroine who gets her own route is Manshiro Kuki, the first lolly character to get her own full-length route in the series. This route is super fun for a completely different reason from Tsubame's. Earlier I mentioned getting to meet the whole Kuki family. Yamano becomes Manshiro's butler, basically what Azumi is to Hideo, and you get to learn the inner workings of the Kuki butler-maid ranking system, where getting up the ranks generally means a higher standing by the great, powerful, rich Kuki family. Unless you're really against lolly routes, I think this is one of the better routes of the game for how crazy fun a lot of the battle butlers and maids can truly get, and how Yamano has to compete despite not being super physically powerful himself. The other reason why Majikoi S is considered a sequel instead of a fan disc is because it has an unlockable true route of sorts, and it's only tangentially related to the original Majikoi's true route Agave. The premise is based around Yamano going out with Koyuki from Class 2S. If you've read the original Agave route in Majikoi, you'll realize the true meaning of this relationship, as it's a completely new timeline what if. However, weirdly enough, Koyuki's route is barely about the romance with Koyuki herself. Instead, it's all about what the other routes of Majikoi S were slowly building up to, the whole point of the Bushido project I mentioned before. This route has some of the most chaotic fun fights in the whole series, basically becoming an all-out war, including Momoyo finally finding someone who's basically on her level to the point where she has to fight in space. I've been talking a lot about what the routes in Majikoi S contain, but I really should talk more about the general tone and feel of Majikoi S, because in many ways, it's an upgrade over the original Majikoi in terms of comedy. If you thought the original Majikoi was funny, there's some pretty hilarious additions, including Cookie having a waifu form, childhood friend bro Moro leaning more towards his cross-dressing tendencies, and even straight up bad endings to routes where Yamato can get with Miyako by accidentally consenting to her raping him. Yeah, it makes sense in context. For those who read the original Majikoi for the Kazuma family friend group dynamic interactions, there's still a decent amount of those in Majikoi S, but as this is the series' slow change up into a more waifu heavy series, expect to see the Kazuma family be together less and less as the series goes on. Overall, technically, Majikoi S isn't completely required reading. In fact, I still think the original Majikoi is more than enough to stand on its own, having a good amount of character development, comedy, drama, and fun childhood friend character interactions. However, if you're specifically looking for an upgrade in terms of waifu options, more over-the-top hilarious goofy comedy, higher quality presentation, and generally keeping a lighter tone while still having the occasional unique dramatic moments, there's more than enough reason to check out this expansive sequel. There's around 40 hours of the ridiculous amount of content I've talked about, and almost all of it is quality. But you can still pick and choose which content you want to read if you want to treat this like a fan disc. That's what's so great about Majikoi S.